And in keeping with the theme of burnout and how we're all doing as parents, we talked a lot about the kids last month, and not to take the focus off of them, but thinking about specifically how our parents doing. I'm just curious what other people do when they need a break. And if I'm the only one that tries to find 10 times to take the trash out during the day.
To say lock myself in a closet, does that count?
We're legit.
Brian's home too, so sometimes I pretend that I can't hear them, so he has to respond. I didn't hear.
It's called chicken. That's parental chicken right there.
Selective is also what it's called. There are definitely times each day where somebody yells at me because Seesaw doesn't work, or they hate Gigi on ST Math, or one day earlier this week where Sutherland's forum didn't work. So Seesaw was crapping out, Schoology was crapping out, and ST Math was really extra challenging. And it was all my fault. And I, honestly, like, I was like, when is that meeting on Thursday? When's the free counseling? Like, I need this so much.
Yeah, the server crashed, I think it was Tuesday, and all the middle and high school, the Schoology went totally down for half the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was no, I mean, our experience over here was that there was still the expectation that you have to do all of your work on the asynchronous time, even if you had little.
Can't get to it. Yeah. That's great.
All right, you guys, let's get started just because there's a lot of content tonight. So we'll get back to these questions at the end. And just for the record, this is going to be recorded. And if you have any questions at all throughout the entire meeting, put them in the chat box specifically to Noelle, and we will have a time for Q&A at the very end. Hey, Bryant, you can join us. So just like most other meetings, we'll go through the PTO business first, and then we'll have a time to hear from Seth with the principal's report. We'll hear from Dee Dee and Randy, what's going on with the teachers. Megan Argo is here with us tonight to give a report on how things are going with parent council. And then we'll get more into the topic of this evening, just tips and fun suggestions for beating burnout. And then we've got a special guest speaker, a counselor, Emily Mathon, who's also a parenting coach. And then we'll get to the Q&A at the end. So questions for PTO business, Seth, Megan, and Dee Dee, and Randy, just put them all in the chat and we'll do all of them at the very end. And we're gonna start with the budget. So Nicole, you're up.
Okay, already. So there's not a whole lot of change in the budget. We have had the addition of the poinsettia sales, so you'll see that line item there. And you can see the spiritware. We've gotten $393 so far in spiritware. And Allison, is that done already? The spiritware sales? Are they over? Okay. And the contributions, we're at close to 50% of our goal of the Feed the Bear. And so please, that's a great way to contribute. If you are not interested in getting any of the items, or you just want to know that 100% of your donation goes to the things that the PTO does, and your Amazon Smile, and also Harris Teeter, which I didn't actually have set up. And I think there might be a couple of other grocery stores that also let you link a school. Those are great passive ways for you to contribute to the PTO, and it doesn't take any effort really on your part. And we do quite well with those. And I know I've been doing a lot of Amazon shopping this year. And as far as our expenses go, as I go down, we've only had a few more of the teacher reimbursements, and we had, I believe that's about it that we've had hit the books, except for a few expenses for the credit cards, service, and things like that.
Awesome, thank you.
That's it.
Noelle?
We thought that we would outline kind of what we've done so far this year. Even though it's been kind of a strange year, we've been staying active and trying to keep everybody engaged as well. So we just created this nice slide that has what we've spent our time and money on since the beginning of this year. We've done a lot of stuff for the schools, landscaping. We've gifted whiteboards and pens to all the kids. We provided some COVID supplies, teacher incidentals that Nicole talked about, and then we've had a little celebration for the custodians for Custodian Day. More importantly, the time that's been spent, we continue meeting as a board, and we've done a lot of activities as far as created the special Facebook groups. We had a good group of volunteers that helped mulch the front of the school. We've organized all these great speakers in the general meetings. And of course, we started the Adopt a Teacher program, which has been really successful. And then we've done fun things like Chalk the Walk for the teachers and the staff for encouragement as well. So that's kind of where we've been spending our money and time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jessica was not able to join us this evening, but we do need somebody to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 29th meeting. Do we have a motion for that?
I motion.
Okay, and a second?
I second it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so like we were talking about with the custom spirit wear, Megan Medici is here to give a report on how things wrapped up with that.
Sure. I actually think this Spiritwear campaign went really, really well. We sold 96 items. We made a profit of $537. So a check will come to the school for the PTO. All orders will start to be shipped on December 14th. You may not get it on the 14th. You may get it like the 15th or the 16th, but that's when they're expected to be shipped. And there are about 15 orders in which they will come to my house. And so then I will coordinate. I'll probably just drop them off because there aren't that many and just leave them on the doorstep. But I think it was a huge success. So I'm excited to see the products come in and the kids wearing them.
Thank you. Cassie, I think the next two are for you with poinsettias and cookies.
We still have one more day for the poinsettia sales. And I have some kind of great news to share along that front. If you place an order, and I emailed everyone today that I received an email from. If you place an order for poinsettias, we can actually get them earlier now. So instead of the 14th for pickup at the school, which is still available if that's how you prefer to pick them up, I'm going to deliver them on the 7th or the 8th. So we can get them a lot earlier. So I want to get them into you guys' hands as soon as possible. And since there's still time, if you haven't ordered one yet and you are excited to hear that you can get it sooner, go ahead and hop on and either send me an email, and the email is listed at the top. It's the fundraising email. And I can get you marked down for one. Or you can go onto the website and you can order it that way. Either way, I have a list of names, so I'll know who I need to reach out to deliver them. I'm going to do contactless delivery, so if you did not pay through the website, I'm going to text. I'm going to ask to get phone numbers, and I'll text when I'm getting close to your house so I can leave the poinsettias on your porch. And if you'll just leave an envelope with a check or cash for the amount. So, so far we're doing pretty great on sales for this. I mean, I would love to see more. So if you're interested in a poinsettia, please reach out.
Thank you. Teacher appreciation.
So this is just, I think, wildly successful. I feel like the teachers are really feeling loved. We are still getting some parents rolling in that would like to adopt people. So we just had another one reach out this week. I'd love to get another push. So if you are interested in taking a family, we still have some faculty and staff that we would love to to pour some love into. And the PTO is, I'm super excited. So you guys, all of you, we are going to do treats for the teachers. Oh, wait. Am I telling? Oh yeah, okay. I just had a moment where I was like, am I spoiling a surprise?
No.
We are, we're collecting cookies and sweets and candy for our teachers. So if you are interested in just like, wrapping your arms around them even more, you can email me if you'd like to, but there's a sign up that was on the newsletter this past week. And you can hop on there and sign up. We've had a lot of signups already, but there are a couple of slots open. So if you're still interested, that's a way we'd really like to bless them this holiday season.
And the pictures of the wrapped goodies are intentional because it's important that everything is individually or bundled so that we can safely deliver them.
And if you do want to do that, all the information on how we're like packaging that is on the Sign Up Genius.
Totally, yeah.
Hey, Cassie, can you put the Sign Up Genius in the chat? Do you have the link to do that? Someone just asked that, and I thought I wanted to go ahead and get it on there while you were talking about it.
Yes, I sure can.
Okay.
And any other questions about that can go to Baker-Butler Volunteers at Gmail as well. So we try to keep things positive, but this unfortunately feels a little bit like a negative. We had to make the hard decision to not do a yearbook for this school year. There's just not, we didn't think that we could make a meaningful, worthwhile book, knowing that we weren't going to have class pictures from Life Touch, or with students, most of the students not being in the building to be able to get candid shots. And we weren't sure what it was going to look like to try to get students pictures that are learning virtually at home. So it just kind of felt like we were going to have lacking a lot of representation of the larger school body. And so we decided that instead of forcing that when we weren't sure that it was actually going to be an equitable representation of like our whole Baker-Butler school year, we decided to focus our efforts and activities on something or on other things that would actually benefit the entire school community. So that's a bummer, but we look forward to putting together a really awesome one again next year. So this is pretty exciting. We actually were not going to be pursuing any community nights like when we've partnered with restaurants, but just yesterday, the owner of Five Guys, Moss, and 10 actually reached out to us and they would like to partner with us. And so we're going to do a rotation of Takeout Tuesdays, and we're going to start next week with Five Guys and Hollymead. And then we'll make sure to include this every week in the newsletter on Mondays, and then make sure we're blasting it on social media pages on Tuesdays. But it's going to be for all takeout orders, and it's going to be every Tuesday. And we're going to start with Five Guys. And just to be clear, you can order online, but sometimes people will order through like Uber Eats or DoorDash and other services, but you have to actually call the store for the store to get the benefit, and for then Baker-Butler to get 10% of the proceeds. And so this is going to be for all orders, you don't have to mention Baker-Butler. It's going to be for any order, even if you go to a different school or whatever. So I think this is a pretty great thing, and seems like a safe way to also partner with our local businesses. And also 10 is, the chef at 10 is Pei Chang, who is a Baker-Butler dad. So be sure that you get some sushi from there. Seth?
Thanks, Allison. Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for logging on a Thursday night. I'll be pretty quick because I'm excited as a parent to hear from our guest speaker tonight, but I want to give you a couple updates. First one is next week, the school board will be meeting to start discussing stage 4 or next quarter if we're moving on to a different stage or not. So all that information will be in the website, which I've linked in the newsletter going out this Sunday, but essentially they're going to look at the models for stage 3 and stage 4 and see what that would look like if the health data warrant moving on to the next stage, which would involve having more students invited back in the building. But they have said no matter what, that families will always have the option to remain virtual if that's what they feel safest doing. Right now, just to give you some perspective, for kindergarten through 3rd grade, about 2/3 of our students, close to 3/4, are coming into the building, and about a third are staying home with a virtual experience. So on a grade level, it's about 6 classes. That means we have 4 in the school and 2 at home is how we've been doing it. So right now that equals to be a little under 300 unique students every week, about 150 or so every Monday and Wednesday, then Tuesday and Thursday. So it's going really well at our school. The staff has been incredible. The parents have been incredibly patient as we have reinvented how we do student pickup and drop off and get our buses out. And it seems to be working pretty well. And we're doing our best to follow all the protocols to keep everyone safe with good success so far. So if there's any questions about that, feel free to throw them in the chat and I can answer as we go through. The decision about progression of stages and what would make us go forward or backwards is going to be through the superintendent and the school board, but I know some of the protocols for that. An email went out, I think last week, just about knowing that there's some increased case numbers in the region, how that would affect the in-person learning. And really there's a couple of thresholds that they look at for that. One is the number of new cases over a 14-day average, and the other is the number of positive test rates over a 14-day average. And really what they're doing is looking at a dashboard on the Virginia Department of Health. So if you're ever curious as to the exact data they're using, if you just Google VDH, Virginia Department of Health, COVID school dashboard, you'll see it. You can select Albemarle County and you'll see exactly what our numbers are. They're updated every day at 8 a.m. I check it every morning as well. You'll see exactly where we're trending. And that information is also on our school website. Some things we're doing to help kind of accommodate our virtual learners and in-person learners. We did just receive a huge order of school supplies from the county, which are being distributed both in our classrooms as well as through our supply runs on our buses. We do finally have our full library up and running through the bus runs and in our classrooms. We are continuing with free breakfast and lunch for every student. And we are continuing to purchase recess equipment for social distance recess. And we have 2 large 30 by 60 outdoor tents being installed with outdoor furniture in the next few weeks, which will give us a covered space to use for recess and outside learning when the weather is appropriate, which is super exciting. I also want to take a minute and recognize Miles Nelson and Lucy Spencer. Miles as our school counselor, as you know, and Lucy is our technology resource teacher. ACPS has 2 tech nights. One was Tuesday and one is tonight, actually right now. Tuesday, Miles and Lucy presented about some internet safety and digital citizenship things for our students. So that's available online. You can actually look at that recording if you weren't able to make it. I want to really quickly mention the yearbook. It is absolutely a bummer we're not doing the yearbook this year. However, we are going to put together some type of memory book for our 5th graders. So we're working with our 5th grade team on that, and that'll be something that we do get published, they can sign, and they will have a memory of this year, whether virtual or in person. So we're going to make sure that this year remains special for them. Finally, a big thank you. The Adopt a Teacher program from the PTO has been incredible. It's exciting to see all those gift bags entering our school literally every day, and the teachers never know when it's coming. It's been really exciting. The whiteboards and markers are being heavily used by our students to the point where we actually have to start replacing all the markers now because they've worn out, which is something we didn't plan for, but now we're ready for it. Coming in and seeing the walkway chalked in the morning has been really inspirational. Even when it rains, we see that it was done, and that means a lot too. So thank you. And the mulch is done, and we are looking forward to the cookies. So a big thank you to our PTO. I'm happy to answer questions now or the end of the meeting. I know that a lot is happening right now, and if you have questions that are more private, feel free to email me at any time, and I will respond. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth. Any immediate questions that you're seeing, Noelle?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. Dee Dee and Randy?
Hello, everyone. I'd just like to also say a big thank you to the PTO for your encouragement and support. It's just been amazing. And being that it's a different type of year, just knowing that you're there and supporting us is awesome. Just wanted to kind of share a little bit about how in-person learning has been going. We've been in it almost a month now, and it's amazing. The students have done a great job coming in. They're excited. Even though you can't see a smile, you know that there's a smile under there because you can see it in their eyes. And last week, right before our Thanksgiving break, I asked our students who was someone that they were thankful for. And I think this kind of sums up how our students are feeling. And one student's response was, "I am thankful for the person who made the decision to allow us to come back to school." So right there just pretty much said, this is why we were in this. This is why we're doing everything that we're doing to keep them safe and at school. So that was something that I took into the break and have kind of kept close to my heart. But our days, the students come in, they're in the room. We have breakfast and snack and lunch in the classroom, but we do have the opportunity to go outside, and it's super exciting to hear about the tents that are coming. So we get to go outside and enjoy time outdoors when the weather's nice. We also take advantage of the walking trails. We're very fortunate to have lots of different trails around our campus. So we've been taking advantage of that. And yes, our dismissal has been a little bit different, and we appreciate your patience and understanding. But each day goes by, it seems to get smoother, and we get everybody in and out pretty quickly. So that's pretty much our day. But again, I can't say enough about the students and how well they have adapted to a new routine. And then, like I tell our students in the classroom, they're rocking it every day. And a question that I've been asked is just how are our students doing? Will they be behind? Are they falling behind? And to try to answer that, our division has worked on or gives us a pacing guide that we use. We've had that in place, but they continue to look at that and work on that on a regular basis and have adapted it to our school calendar for this year. And as teachers and as teams, grade levels, we use those pacing guides to help guide our instruction as we're developing our lessons and units. And so we use that whether we're in person or virtual. And for those students that are in person, they come 2 days a week, but we're actually covering at least 4 days worth of material in that time. So we're getting through things, and we're going through that pacing guide and making sure that they are receiving the instruction and the education that they need to have and to meet the standards of learning that our state gives to us. Report cards are sent out 4 times a year after each quarter. So the first one was just sent out. I believe they were mailed out if they weren't given to students in person. And then when we return from winter break, we will begin our mid-year assessments for students. And then that will be reported in the second report card for the second quarter. So hopefully that maybe helps answer that a little bit.
Dee, do you mind, the question I get all the time, and as a first grade teacher, it's a very fair person to ask, how do our students do wearing a mask all day?
Oh my goodness. So I will admit, like back in June, July, was like, how in the world will young kids, children wear masks? They are the best. They do
awesome.
not complain. They wear them, and they're the cutest. I love seeing the variety of them, and they are awesome. It's unbelievable. They don't, like I said, they don't complain. They're wearing them properly. I do have some that'll change them out during the day because they want, a fresh one after they have snack or lunch. They have it in their bag. They change it really quick. And I don't even know that, they've changed it because they put it one back on. We go outside. They know that they have it on. It's amazing. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And thanks for sharing that quote from the kid that said that. I wrote that down. I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Megan, you there?
I'm here.
Hey.
Hey, so I don't really have too many updates. I just wanted, the one thing that was pretty exciting came out last meeting is that so the parent council wants to set up a central, it was formerly known as the Central PTO Fund, but we're calling it Families Helping Families Fund. And they want to use that as a resource for any families in the county for whatever they need it for. So it's a way of just, even if you need a meal, clothes, resources for school, anything. So they want to use that, and they wanted to have, PTO consensus through each school, just kind of confirming that we want to be a part of it. So I wanted to bring that forward to you all. And then the second thing was in just conversation with Allison. I think it would be beneficial, and I kind of wanted to see feedback if anybody else would be interested. But having some sort of like a support, just vent session, I think would be powerful for parents. I think a lot of us are feeling the same things, but we don't really have avenues to be able to work through them or get ideas. So I think that would be something else that would be, would like to put forward if anybody wants to second that or email Allison, myself, to let us know. That would be great.
If you're not too surveyed out, Megan and I were talking last night and we were kicking around the idea about maybe just sending out a super quick couple question survey to find out, would people be interested in this and in what format? Super casual, not necessarily like a PTO thing, but just, parents trying to get together, parents supporting one another. And then what topics would be relevant? Or do you just need a time to sit back? Yes, it's on Zoom again, but a time to sit together with other people and just talk about your day. I mean, virtual coffee or whatever you drink at 7 o'clock at night. So, thank you, Megan.
Of course.
Okay, so our team put together some tips on beating winter burnout. And yes, I know we're technically still in the fall, but it's getting dark at like 4:30 and a lot of sports have ended or sports have never started. So we're just thinking about, we're going into about 3 months and we're of colder days and shorter days. And our kids have been home with us now for 9 months. And we just need like a fresh infusion of activities and ideas. And I think that this is a way that we can maybe encourage one another. And yes, a lot of the conversation is going to be about parents, but I do think that it's important to have some things in our back pocket with our kiddos. So Cassie put together some bingo cards. Cassie, you want to talk about these?
So there's a huge variety, and Allison's going to, she has copies of all of them. So you don't have the same one. So if you see the one that's pictured here and you're like, I would like something slightly different there, or you finish this one and you're like, I need another one because I really need a break. I'm feeling super burnt out. We've got plenty. I personally like breakfast for dinner. We do that a million times, or we've done that a million times during this pandemic. But these were just quick, easy ways to give yourself a brain break. I don't know, not much more than that, just because my brain's on a break permanently these days. No, I'm kidding. But they're just fun things, and you can get the kids involved. Some of them are just like wash the dishes with the kids. Like, they might not be the cleanest, but you're getting help with it and you're still spending time with them. But I don't know, this just really wanted to help everyone out and how to think of some easy ways where you don't have to think about how to even take a break. We did it for you.
Totally. Well, and sometimes like it's just the idea of having something to look forward to in the day. So if you know you're going to have pancakes and bacon for dinner, like that can totally be a mood booster for everybody. And then Noelle gathered a bunch of reading suggestions.
Yeah, Miss Harmon was really nice to put together a nice book list. We're going into winter break here in a little while, and keeping the kids active, I think, will help with the parents' burnout. So this reading list will be on the PTO website and in the newsletters. She broke it down by age groups and gave suggestions on some great books. The books are available in the Baker-Butler library, but they're also available at the Jefferson-Madison regional libraries. So one thing I wanted to talk about was how to check books out at Baker-Butler. And again, Ms. Harmon has created this process and this circulation document on how to check books out at Baker-Butler. Basically, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can go to the Destiny link on the library page, and all of this is outlined in a document that you guys can see later on. But also you can request through the library page. There's an icon that just says request a book. But also Ms. Harmon has office hours twice a week, and she can help get those books to your kids as well. Sorry. And the books are delivered. Hold on 1 minute. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
The books are delivered by the buses, or if your kid is hybrid, they can take them home from the school, or if you have a sibling that's hybrid, they can take them to the sibling as well. So Ms. Harmon also provided a great resource at the Jefferson Madison Regional Library, and the link is listed here. Basically, it gives you all kinds of at-home activities for families. And then she was great to mention that there's a dial a story number as well if you want to step away from screen time and just call in, and there's a read out loud that they change out frequently. So I think that's all the reading and all of those activities are a great way to cut into that holiday break when you need something to do with your kids and enjoy it with your kids. So hopefully that's useful for you guys.
She broke that reading list down into grades, and then also there's an asterisk next to every book that there's multiple copies of. So hopefully that allows for more, like if you wanted to check the book out, but you knew it was a popular book. But then I also especially love the gift suggestions too, because she talks a lot about what are the books that the kids are most likely to check out of the library right now, and which ones would she recommend if you're looking for holiday gifts.
Yeah, I did go on and look at Jefferson Madison and all the books that she has at Baker-Butler. If there's multiple copies, she puts a star by it, but also all of them are at the Jefferson Madison Library as well.
Yeah, she was super generous in helping us with that.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then Noelle also gathered a bunch of suggestions and activities of things that we can do around, not necessarily in Charlottesville. You want to talk about these?
Sure. All of these will be on a resource on the PTO site and in the newsletter as well. Just things that, again, to help with burnout is just to keep active and to do some fun things with your kids over the holidays. I did try all of the crafts and recipes myself before I actually put them on the list, because my daughter and I like doing those things. So all of them have been tested, and it was a lot of fun to do it with my daughter. So there's a list of crafts and recipes, but there's also a couple of events that we wanted to mention. The Charlottesville Ballet has a Nutcracker that's virtual, and it's a pay what you want deal. So if anybody hasn't seen the Nutcracker, it would be a great event to have, set your kids down and watch with them. Also, I feel safe recommending the Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden Light Festival because it's outdoor. And you do have to buy tickets for that, but it's a fun holiday event that is outside, and you can bundle up and go and see it. It's in Richmond. There's also the resource of the charlottesvillefamily.com. They have all kinds of listings of things that are going on for the season, and it's a great resource as well.
They have
hopefully you can check them out.
Yeah, they have a drive-in movie soon too, and they didn't have a ton of things listed past this week, but I think they update that kind of frequently. And of course, it's stuff that you can do either virtually or safe at a distance. And the last thing I want to mention, there's a teacher, he actually was my daughter's soccer coach, and he's been a teacher of ours as well, Jeff Matrosino at Sutherland. He is a huge proponent of mindfulness, and actually has started doing some guided mindfulness times for teachers, for parents, and he was more than happy for us to announce it here this evening. And actually, to get any of the links for these meetings, just have to email him. His email address is at the top there. But just kind of as a way for 15 minutes or 30 minutes if it's noon on Fridays, to just kind of have a minute to take a deep breath. And I love this quote here: when little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not to join their chaos. And that is a good reminder. I think I need to put that on my mirror so I see it every day. Like when my kids are losing it or they're tempted to freak out, like I need to remember that it's my job to help them calm down, and I need to start with myself first. And that's often crazy when there's not much of a break, but anyway, we're talking amongst the board here about having Jeff join us for future meetings, just because he has a wealth of knowledge about mindfulness and resources. And he even has, like Cassie showed the bingo card earlier, he actually has one that he does too for students and for teachers at Sutherland, just with more ways to incorporate this practice into our everyday lives, which I think is awesome. And we're going to share more of those resources as well. And so I think now we're going to turn it over to Emily Mathon. Emily, do you want me to stop sharing? And Are you here? I want to
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Emily is a parent coach with Empathy Parenting, and she's got her own presentation, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so she can.
Okay. Am I a co-host? You made me a co-host?
Nope, I can.
Oh, I can share. However it is, I'm able to share.
Awesome, good.
So here we go. Can you, oh no, wait, hold on a second. There we go. I meant to present, not to share it. Very cool. Well, thanks. It was great to be able to hear a little bit about what you were discussing before, before my turn. It sounds like you have a lot of really great resources within the PTO and everything that I love this topic. I think this is really important, and my understanding when Allison, thank you for inviting me, was to really focus on the parent side of things. So I love that you're looking at kind of the whole family and what activities can you provide to support the whole family in terms of engagement and activities and that type of thing. And what my goal for talking with you all tonight is really around kind of what the very last bit of what Allison, what you were saying, regarding, how many of us have had a rough parenting moment within the past 24 hours? I know this evening, my 8-year-old was trying to build a gingerbread house and lost it. So, these moments come all the time. And right now, like you said, there's been so much more time that we've been spending with our kids. And then we have this increase of holiday stress. With the usual kind of, normally the holidays can be stressful, but then there's even more additional stressors with limits on travel and things like that. And then obviously with the pandemic, just the fatigue that we're all experiencing with being home with our kids, or just having so many limits on our ability to do the things that we're used to doing. So my goal for you is to, I'm going to go through some slides and really address what we can do as parents in those moments where the gingerbread house is falling apart, or the internet's not working, or just there's so many of these moments that happen throughout our days. Again, like Allison said, so I'm Emily Mathon. I have my own coaching practice, Empathy Parenting, but I'm also part of Virginia Family Therapy. So those are kind of two ways you might connect with me. And I have 2 children. As I mentioned, I have an 8-year-old who's in elementary at Agna Hurt, so also a Albemarle County student. And my daughter is in middle school at Community Middle. And I really got into this work as a parent coach and parent educator when my daughter was a toddler, my now 13-year-old, and was very clear about asserting her will at a very young age. And so I was looking for tools. And so I took a class and ended up getting certified in teaching and being a coach as well. So I love working with parents. I love, because I know it helped me tremendously to gain more tools and strategies. So in terms of the topic tonight, it's really just to provide some support around combating, like it says here, burnout, holiday stress, and pandemic fatigue. And I wanted to use the analogy that, we all have devices. We all have a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop. And so we think about when it's kind of a common practice. We know that when our battery is low on our cell phone, or we know when the battery's low, we can see it on our device. And as human beings and as parents, we may not have that same kind of battery life, right? I mean, we're humans, we don't have that. So the things that we can use as indicators are really our well-being and our kind of state of mind. And so these are some of the possible indicators that are like our battery light that we can be looking for. Are we feeling irritable? Are we thinking negative thoughts? Are we feeling worried? Are we feeling depressed? So these are some things that might be indicators that our battery is running low. And so, looking for these and knowing that we all have had the experience of when we are engaging with our children and our battery is low, it usually does not go very well. Usually, and even if we're not talking about engaging with our children, even it says here about being accident prone, we're more likely to get sick. There are other things that happen if we don't pay attention to our indicators that are telling us we need to do something to recharge here. But we also know that we're more likely to not have patience with our children, maybe react in ways that are not the way we want to be reacting as a parent. So this is kind of the first way, and this is more of a long-term thing. I mean, when you think about your cell phone or your laptop, this is like you charge it overnight. Like this is like a proactive thing that we do on a regular basis is we charge our phones, we charge our laptops. And so if we think about that's what we need to do with our own selves, these questions, so this is some leading questions for you or some things to be pondering. So what could I do that would be nourishing for myself? How can I recharge my batteries? And sometimes even, what is it that I can say no to? Sometimes we're spread so thin and we don't think about what are the things that we can say no to. And so these are some questions that you can ask yourself about how could I recharge my batteries? And I wanted to use an image to kind of get, so it's not just words, we have some images around what could I do to help me just recharge? And then again, this is on a proactive basis. It could be getting up earlier in the morning so that you can get outside and take a walk. It could be that, and you mentioned about the library and, reading a good book. Like, how is it that I can feel like I am a complete human being? Like I'm a whole person. There's more to me than just being a parent. There's more to me. And so what are some of those things that kind of recharge your battery and have you feel like a complete person? Maybe it's exercising. You mentioned meditation, being creative. So when you think about the different senses that we have, even mentioned about getting together over some kind of drink. There's a picture of a hot drink. So, the picture here is intended to kind of inspire, like there's lots of ways to recharge our batteries. And sometimes, we think, oh, I've got to like schedule a massage and how am I going to do that? Or I have to go to the gym and there's limits there. There are lots of ways that we can proactively recharge our batteries. Listening to music and just, taking some alone time intentionally. So the next thing is the second kind of piece to this analogy is when our phones are glitchy or when our laptops are just not quite working right. Sometimes we just keep trying to do the same thing over and over again, right? We like keep trying to do this thing, whether it's trying to get to this website or we try to do, we just keep trying to do the same thing over and over again. And when we remember, we think, oh, right, I need to pause and I need to restart my computer. That's almost always the first thing we have to do is we need to restart the device. I mean, that's like whenever you call IT, they're like, well, have you restarted the device? It's like, right, I know this. So this is kind of a reminder about, this isn't the long-term, like I'm not going to charge up my battery overnight. This isn't the long-term thing, but what can I do in this moment where I'm feeling like I'm feeling a little glitchy, I need to reset. And so these are more of a short-term responsive approach to when I'm in that moment where I just need, I feel myself feeling frustrated. I feel myself getting annoyed. I've hit my threshold that, okay, maybe I need to just do something quickly to reset myself. And a lot of these things are like, these are listed as words. A lot of them are reflected in the other slide with the images. These are things that are going to take a little bit less time. And in the middle of the day, if you have, multiple children at home and there's multiple challenges happening at the same time, and, you're at your breaking point, you don't have necessarily time to go and take an hour-long walk. That might be more of something that you build into your day proactively. These are things that are more like, okay, I'm just going to take a minute to breathe. I'm just going to take a minute. I didn't list drink water, but like having a sip of water. Like there's just small things. Even saying this, sorry about that. Saying something to yourself, like I got this, like encouraging words. I'm a physical person, so doing a chore, even like folding laundry, it like kind of helps me reset myself, and then I can return to my kids. So, so these are some ideas. I also have zip it up here. Most of the time, whatever we say, if before we have paused and reset is probably, we need to pause and reset first. So zipping it is probably a good plan before we re-engage. So a number of different ideas here of ways that you can just reset yourself. But I want you all to take away that there's like long-term proactive things that we can do to recharge our batteries. And then there's in the moment when you're experiencing frustration, how can you reset yourself before you take the next step? And then the third step is about engaging intentionally. So again, sometimes, I don't know how many times this happens to you all, this happens to me, where I pick up my phone for a very specific reason, and then I'm like, why is this device in my hand? I don't even know. What did I come on here for? Maybe nobody else experiences this, but so this third piece is about engaging intentionally. So it's, and again, I'm a parent coach, so I'm thinking about this from the parent's perspective. So if we are taking care of ourselves, great, and we're doing that proactive stuff, okay, then in the moment, we realize I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, I'm overwhelmed, I need to pause and reset. So now that I've reset, then this third step is about engaging intentionally. And what happens when we engage unintentionally or unconsciously, often our goals are the ones on the left side here. So we're often trying to control the situation. We might be trying to get even. We might be trying to avoid conflict or use intimidation to kind of get our way, or we're looking to be liked. So those are kind of unconscious responses to, I just want this to stop, or I just want to make this problem go away. And that can often not really create the relationship that we want, and it's not going to create the result that we want. So again, going back to this pausing and resetting, and then intentionally choosing how are we going to engage, and with the goal of, okay, what is it that I want to teach in this moment? What is there a way where I can communicate love and build a connection with my child? How can I provide some kind of encouragement? And this says create win-win. So how can it be that I can get what I need met, and my child can also get what they need met? So how can we both achieve what we want to achieve? So that's kind of approaching the whatever is coming up with intention. So again, so these are some questions in that pause that we can ask ourselves. Okay, what is it that I want? So often we just kind of are like, I just want it to stop. But like, if we think about, okay, what is it that I really want in this moment? How do I want to respond? Maybe thinking about, what is it that my child needs right now? What are they asking for? And again, how can we both get our needs met? So those are some questions that we can ask ourselves in that pause. And then as we're engaging intentionally, these are some potential ways to engage. So first is acknowledging our own positive qualities. Sometimes like the negative thought thing that I said earlier, we have these negative thoughts about, I stink at this, this is so hard. And we have these negative thoughts. If we can acknowledge, what, I'm doing my best, and I am a loving, caring person. Like just acknowledging, I'm here, I love my kids, and just whatever it is that you can say to encourage yourself. And then also acknowledging your children's positive qualities. I mean, in the moment, it can feel really hard to when they're losing it and they're freaking out about something, or they're being unkind. Getting reconnected with their positive qualities can be a place to reconnect with them. Seeing things from your child's point of view, again, in that pause, that can be a way to approach the situation when you're really imagining like, wow, they are really overwhelmed right now. And that can help you with however you're going to engage next. Looking for patterns like, wow, they always freak out about this time of day. that's interesting. And just noticing that, like, there's a pattern here, or like mornings are really rough. I'm curious about that. And so just kind of seeing what those patterns look like. Again, this win-win. Well, how can I get my need met, and how can they get their need met at the same time? It's not that I have to win and they have to lose, but how can we both really get our needs met? Getting silly and playful. I loved on your bingo card how you had like a dance party and you had breakfast for dinner, you mentioned, and so many other things that it's like, and sometimes we get really, intense about parenting, and that, we kind of, when we bring light and humor and joy and fun, that can often dispel and disperse any kind of intensity in the moment. But it takes something, again, that pause, reset, and then engaging in that way. Offering choices where there's two things or multiple things that you're okay with. They have to be things that are okay with you. So that can be another way that you can engage. And then, sharing how you're feeling using I statements, like, this is how I'm feeling, just if you need to communicate that, can be a way to re-engage in an intentional way. I put some resources on here. I know you already shared so many awesome resources earlier in the presentation, they were great resources. I put a few on here in terms of that, like, again, that the recharging your batteries, I listed yoga with Adrienne. There's lots of free online resources for yoga, for exercise, things like that. The Women's Initiative is a really great resource. They have they have free counseling, they have, groups, they have one-on-one they have a lot of really great resources. So I just wanted to list them in their local Charlottesville. The Insight Timer or something like that can help with meditation. And you mentioned about mindfulness. That can be a helpful thing to kind of calm our minds down. And then you mentioned the library as well, that's a great resource for, again, that idea of how can I be more of a complete person? How can I activate other parts of my being? And engaging with reading and our imagination and learning is a great way to do that. I will say that I offer support if that's something that folks are looking for. I have groups for parents of tweens and teens. I have groups for parents of school-age kids, and then I have a class coming up starting in January. I also do like free Zoom calls once a quarter, so that's another way that people can connect with me. I have a Facebook page and an email. That's a great way to get in touch with me. And I will be sharing this. I've already shared the slideshow with Allison, so that will be available for folks to check out. And I really just wanted to see if anyone had any questions for me. I know I went through a lot of stuff, but I really wanted to leave you with the 3 tangible things. So with that analogy of recharging your batteries on purpose, that's a little bit longer and proactive. How do you reset and restart in the moment when you're experiencing those frustrations? And then how do I choose to engage intentionally, like not just looking at your phone, like how did I end up here, but choosing how you engage with it. So those are I wanted you to be left with those three takeaways. So any questions for me? And I can't see people. So I can stop sharing so then I can see the whole group if there's hands raised, that type of thing.
Noelle, thank you. Thank you, Emily. Noelle's been fielding questions. So people, you can raise your hand, or if there's any in the chat box, we can go through them that way. Emily, that was wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, seriously. And like she was saying, we do have the presentation, and we can do a link for that in the newsletter and on our Facebook page and on the PTO website as well. And so a lot of the resources and the links that you shared, you'll be able to access them when you can go into it later.
Perfect.
So valuable.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I hope I can be a resource in the future.
Emily, we had a question come up about time management. Any suggestions on time management?
I'm curious about, I'm a little bit more curious about what the question's about. Like, so time management in terms of like managing the day, like your children's school day, or I'd love to hear more about that. the question's about.
They didn't mention anything else, but I would guess that would have to do with the children's school day. Yeah.
School day. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, right now I know that there's both, you know, there's virtual and then there's the hybrid. And so those are kind of two different realms to focus on, right? I mean, like the virtual school day in some ways is somewhat mapped out, at least part of the day. And then you have the hybrid day where they're in school and then they're at home. And so I think just as much as you can, part of it again has to go with noticing the patterns of your children and thinking, okay, what time of day do they function best? And kind of mapping out if they're really kind of fresh in the morning and they work well in the morning, then, you know, kind of focusing on that and capitalizing on that time if they have to do harder things during that time. I'm thinking of more of the asynchronous kind of work, making sure you're building in breaks. And, you know, again, I don't know what other things this you know, person's asking, what other things they're juggling, but it may have to do with what your own schedule looks like. You know, if you're like, I have this chunk of my day where I cannot be interrupted, then that's the time of day where you really need to strategize your time management if there's other times of day when you're flexible. So I think it's a good question, but it is very unique to each person based on what are the different factors. But I think first and foremost, it's like, okay, what are my needs that I need to get met, and how do I achieve those and balance the needs of my child? I hope that answers the question. It's very specific to your situation for sure.
It doesn't look like there's any other questions in the
Okay.
chat box.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to also consult with folks. You know, if you have questions, I've done some, like I did in terms of that time management thing. I also have kind of a strategizing your time management when it was regarding the summer. So I have something that I can send out related to that kind of helps people walk through their plan for their day.
That sounds great. Any other questions for Seth or for Dee Dee or Megan or PTO related?
Nope, no other questions.
Okay. There was a question about needing help with collections for both cookies and picking up poinsettias on the 14th. Cassie, do you know if there's a need for help on that?
So I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't know who I have, but I did get, if you are interested, I did get April's email. And if you are interested, anyone else is interested in the chat tonight, you can email the Baker-Butler volunteers email, and I can keep you posted. Actually, if you want to volunteer for anything throughout the year, you are always welcome to email and let us know. We will take you anytime you want to sign up. I appreciate that though. I really do appreciate like the offer to help, because we may end up needing help. We may have a lot that night. So thank you, April.
Fantastic. All right, well, I think that's it. So thank you, everybody. And I hope that you were able to take away some information and some resources that you'll find valuable and will help you today and over the next several months. So yeah, all right, take care. This will be recorded and we're gonna post everything later too. So thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Dee Dee.
Thank you.